overview there of the Labour Party for you, and if you'd like to present the Conservative viewpoint for the students, that would be wonderful.
Sure, I'll try and be really brief so we've got more time for questions. I'll tell you why I joined the Conservative Party quite some time ago now, I suppose. I read a book by a fellow called A.J.P. Taylor. Some of you who study history may have read some of his history books. And he wrote a book called The History of England to 1914. And in the start of that book, in the foreword, he wrote that in 1900, a fellow could walk down the street, and unless he met a policeman or he stepped into a post office, he could walk from dawn until dusk without meeting the hand of the state. The idea being that this is a free man or woman. You can do your own thing, and the state isn't going to interfere too much in your life. But through the 20th century, Taylor said, the state interposed itself further and further into people's lives, into education, healthcare, their wage packet, to transport, sometimes for good, sometimes not for so much good. And so I became interested in the Conservative Party because it stood up for the individual. It said, you're a free man, a free woman, and you have the right to make the best of your life without the state trying to tell you what to do. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to each other, to help look after each other, and we need a government which makes sure that those people who are poorest in society or disadvantaged through no fault of their own need to be looked after. That's the fundamental view of the Conservative Party. But we believe that the best way to ensure that everybody gets on, but also that everybody that needs help gets the help that they need, is to ensure that there are good and decent jobs for everybody to have once they've had a decent education that allows them to learn things that they need to learn. And if you look at what happened in Tamworth over the past 6 or 7 years, back in 2010, we had very significant unemployment. People were losing their jobs, whether they were in industry, engineering, or if they worked at what was Woolworths, now Home Bargains. That retail outlet went to the wall in the recession. Since then, more and more jobs locally and nationally have been created. Almost 2 million new private sector real jobs, that's 1,000 jobs every day, have been created by the present government. Here in Tamworth, we had unemployment running into the thousands, over 6% unemployment. Now, unemployment in our town is falling faster than anywhere else in the country. Less than 350 people out there in Tamworth today are claiming job seekers allowance, don't have jobs. So we've had a real success in our town at creating jobs. And if you go to Hams Hall, you'll find apprentices for BMW. You go to JLR, you'll find apprenticeships down the road in Castle Bromwich and Solihull. And we believe that the best way to help people is to create those jobs. But you also need to create the workforce of the future. I was an historian at school. History is very important. But I recognise that you need modern subjects, you need languages, you need engineering and technical qualifications to get on. That's why we're creating university technical colleges for people who have an aptitude to technical work. Carol mentioned the talk facility. The County Council, the Conservative County Council, invested £2 million in it to create an engineering hub of excellence, so that those apprenticeships at Hams Hall and JLR can be serviced by local people. We also want to invest, though, in schools. School numbers, pupils, guys like you in a few years' time, numbers are going to grow. And so we've said that we'll invest £590 million more than the Labour Party will spend on schools, so that there is enough money to ensure that the pupils of the future have the investment they need to succeed. And we've also said that we'll make sure that we give give teachers the power and the flexibility to make their choices about hiring staff, the best staff to help teach you, rather than being told how to do it by a distant local education authority in Stafford. So I believe there is a fundamental difference between the Labour Party, which says, we know best, and the Conservative Party, which says, you know best. Your lives are your own. You must make the choices about them. You must be given all the help that you can to make those choices, but fundamentally, they're yours. And I think that's the difference between me and Carol. Carol will say, listen to me, I know best. I will say, I'll listen to you, because you know best. And that's the difference between Labour and the Conservatives.